Seeking solutions for the future of work, Amazon with a big announcement saying it plans to spend $700 million over the next 6 years retraining a third of its workers. Our own Deirdre Bolton is here with more on that. Lance Ulanoff back as well. Deirdre, you first. This is a big move from Amazon.
It is a huge move, but in some respects, Connell, there's a lot of people, including many consulting firms, who say this is actually the smart way to go, because every time these corporations lose key employees, they pay anywhere between 150 to 215% of that person's total package to go out and rehire somebody to fill that person's shoes, wait till that person is up to speed, even if the person's a genius, right? There's corporate culture, there's getting along with colleagues. This is costly as far as timing goes, as far as effort, and then just downright dollars. Also, technology, it's changing so fast. Even if you're an amazing coder, let's say in Python, a lot of fintech companies use that language, in 6 to 8 months, there's already tweaks. So for a lot of these companies, they're saying, okay, honestly, it's just cheaper if we invest in the employees we already have.
Well, that part does make sense, right, Lance? Sometimes there used to be, well, not used to be, it was like as recently as like last week, people will learn to code, you know, and that'll be the answer to everything. But Deirdre's right. I mean, like, keeping up with this, it's that you have to learn how to adjust, and maybe it's adapting within your own company. I know this is a big investment. I wonder if it's enough, given how much automation we'll be facing over the next decade and even the next 2 decades. Forget about it. But there's a lot of jobs at risk here, right?
Yeah, well, so, they have a lot of factory workers, right? They have 110 factories, and they have tens of thousands of factory workers. And only a fraction of the work in these factories is being done by robots, although they have a whole lot of robots. But that's going to change over time. And the key to not having people be out of work in the face of automation is retraining. This is exactly the right thing to do. And any study I've ever looked at about how jobs and how the economy is going to be impacted by automation says that you have to retrain the workforce. You can't just wait. So Amazon has been on this path for a while. I think the 6-year plan is great, because in a decade they're going to have a lot of automation in these factories, and hopefully a whole lot of their people will be in new jobs. A lot
of people cite that Oxford economic study, Deirdre, which has big-time numbers, killing 20 million manufacturing jobs worldwide by 2030. And I guess and Lance is right. You have to train these workers to do other things. You just wonder whether or not we can do enough of that, or there's something else. Andrew Yang running for president brings up universal basic income. That's why, right? I mean, that's just literally handing people money, but it's all about this. I don't know if it's the right answer, but that's the reason that comes up.
Yeah, I mean, there are compelling arguments on both sides. I mean, I think it's clear that technology is going to be part of every single job in the future, even artificial intelligence. But there are still contextual things. There are still EQ, right? Emotional quotient that is important as well, because no matter what kind of business you're running, presumably you are still doing business with other humans, at least for the next generation.
Theoretically.
So you would hope. And just, I mean, Amazon is getting the clear shout out that it deserves today for thinking ahead, but I'd be remiss if I didn't highlight, JP Morgan Chase has a partnership with MIT, AT&T has a partnership with Notre Dame University. So other large companies are trying to figure this out, and it is not for altruistic purposes.
And it's so many industries, ones you wouldn't even think of. Right. I mean, by the way, ours even, as a half a joke, but I was at a Hong Kong, I was at the Wall Street Journal's tech conference, and they had the artificial intelligence news anchor there. It was no Deirdre Bolton.
Everything.
Right now.
I mean, that's what Google's working on with the duplex, where you can basically call and have your computer make an appointment with your hairdresser, and it sounds completely natural. And more, the sort of front end, the direct customer relations are probably going to be handled in an automated or computer or AI fashion. So. But those studies, and the Oxford study, and they talk about the pace of change. If the pace of change is sort of matched by retraining, then we're okay. If the pace of change goes too fast, then you're going to have more people out of jobs because they weren't prepared to change.
You can't keep up with it, right? We got to go. Guys, thanks, Lance and Deirdre.